This program explains about how one can create a 2D integer array dynamically. In this program, as we have mentioned, we wanted to explain how a 2D integer array can be created dynamically. Already we have got flexibility in creating a 1D integer array dynamically. That is, we can create a 1D integer array having any number of elements while program is running. This one we wanted to use it and create our 2D integer array. What is a 2D integer array? Is it not a series of rows? That is 1D arrays? Yes. Thus, creating a 2D integer array can be considered as creating each row of it. Thus, here we propose to create a 2D integer array dynamically by repeatedly creating 1D arrays, rows of this array. However, we know that in order to access any element of a dynamically created 1D array, we require the address of that element. How do we get that one? If we know the base address of that array, by adding the element index, we can get the address of that element. Thus, here in this program, first we declare a one-dimensional integer pointer array. That is, in that pointer array, we can store addresses. And then we create 2D integer array by repeatedly calling the malloc by allocating memory for each row. For each row, memory will be allocated. That row base address will be stored in this pointer array. Here in this example, we have declared A10. That is a integer pointer array. Thus, once we have the address of any row, we can access element of that row according to our wish. So this is the essence of this problem. Let us assume that the user has entered m value as 4 and n value as 5. That is, he wants to create a 4 rows by 5 elements 2D integer array dynamically. As we have already mentioned, that creating this array is nothing but creating each row of the 2D array. The for loop I is equal to 0, I less than m, I plus plus, a of I is equal to this for loop is used to achieve this one. In the following slides, we will work out how it will work. When I value is 0, the malloc function allocates memory for 5 integers, and that array starting address 1004, we are assuming that will be stored in the first element of the array A. A0 becomes 1004. What is 1004? That is the base address of the first row of our 2D integer array. When I is equal to 1, another row of our 2D matrix is created by calling malloc, and its base address 1256 is stored in A1. When I is equal to 2, another row of 2D integer array is created dynamically by calling the malloc function. Its address 1340 is stored in A2. When I is equal to 3, the fourth row of the 2D integer array is created by calling the malloc function. Its base address 1434 is stored in A3. Like this, A0 contains the base address of the first row, A2 contains the base address of the second row, and vice versa. Let us try to know the notations which can be used to access the elements of this 2D integer array. A0, A1, A2, etc. they are the pointers to the rows of the 2D integer array. Already we know that if we add a integer to a pointer, again we will get a pointer. Thus, AI, if I is an integer, AI is the address of the ith row of our 2D integer array. That is, the address of the first element of the ith row of our 2D integer array. Plus another integer j if we add, that becomes the address of the ith row jth column element of our 2D integer array. Remember, this is the address which is required especially while reading the data into our 2D integer array with the help of scanf function. Thus, to conclude, A of I plus j is the address of ith row jth column element of our 2D integer array for which memory is allocated dynamically. A of I plus j is the address of the ith row jth column element of our 2D integer array. Star before it. That is, if we apply indirection operator for it, we will get ith row jth column element of our 2D integer array. In this representation also, we can still use A of ij to represent the ith row jth column element value. These two for loops are used to read the data into the 2D integer array using the scanf function. Scanf function requires address of the element into which the data has to be read. Here, A of I plus j is the address of the ith row jth column element that we are giving to the scanf. Thus, the 2D array can be read. These two for loops will print the elements of the 2D integer array. Remember one important aspect here. Here we are creating a 2D integer array, no doubt. We have got already flexibility to create a one-dimensional integer array having any number of elements. Thus, we can create a row of the 2D integer array having any number of elements. However, we are storing the addresses of each row in the pointer array, for which memory is allocated by the compiler, that is integer star a of 10, that is declared by us in the main That is, we are declaring the pointer array. The memory is allocated by the compiler. As we are here telling that 10 is the size, we can store at most 10 addresses. That is, at most 10 rows addresses. Thus, in this approach, we can create a 2D integer array having at most 10 rows, but columns can be any number. So this is the constraint in this approach.